I'm not going to say a single word about the Tennessee Titans record against the Indianapolis Colts because I was a punter, and there's no reason for me to talk about that. With that being said, we did not punt much against the Tennessee Titans, so you probably have no clue who I am to begin.
Look, I'm unstoppable. Forget your defense, nothing but an obstacle. Run it back, switch it up, call it audible. Serving up them Hail Marys till the game over with the showstopper so hot you gotta blow on it. I said I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll pass to my left while I'm looking to my right. Hit him right in the chest. It be looking like magic, better give me the throne. I ain't talking about Patrick, but I rep my home. I'm never at the end of my zone. I'm bad to the bone, eating up these pig skins like they chicharrones. And you a douche cabron. Mira, mira at the mirror on the wall. I'm the greatest of them all. They gon' put me in the hall. Your name is only written in a bathroom stall. Quit your stalling and make a play. My drive too long, pop the clutch, I don't pump the brakes. I know what it takes to gain the muscle, get rugged. These butterfingers be fumbling, squash the scrimmage and rub it in Robitussin. How I give them concussion, they see in double, they rushing and pass the shovel, the dirt and rubble, I bury them under it. Stay in your huddle and get 10 yards back, never turn your back. I'ma pull your flag, I go full contact, out punch, out kick like a shotgun.
Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the HorseShoe Mob podcast. As you can see, there's 5 of us today, and that's not by mistake. Okay, we have a special guest. He was gracious enough to have us on HorseShoe Pod, so it's only fair that we have him on here to go ahead and talk about some things. But before we get into the special guest, let's make sure that you're going to www.fanbattlesports.com. That's all your AFC South related news, but you don't care about that, okay? You care about the Colts. So that's all your Colts related things. You'll be able to see all Colts media on there, articles, previous episodes. So make sure that you're going to www.fanbattlesports.com. Follow whatever you do on there. Just make sure that you do it. All right. So without further ado, we're gonna get into the guys, and then we're gonna go ahead and just get to our guest, because you know what, this is I like to say that anybody that comes on the show is officially family. So you know, we got a new member of the family on. So before we do that, we're just gonna go ahead and introduce the guys, starting with Mr. Silent Assassin himself, Austin Cook. Everybody,
what's up? I'm Austin.
See, Silent Assassin. I told you. We have with us the senior, Josh Senior.
What's good, everybody?
Then we have with us the biggest Chris Ballard enthusiast amongst the Colts fan base, Harish Nukala.
Nobody builds teams like Chris Ballard the Great.
And I'm Chris Jackson. You know that already, though. So without further ado, we're going to get to our guy. So you may have seen him on Bite Size Sports, may have seen him on Carnage Media pay-per-view. You might even have seen him on Horseshoe Pride. You probably see him all over the Twitter sphere. You know, just he's a man of many hats. But we have him here for the Colts hat today. So we're just going to do. Matter of fact, he's wearing a Colts hat. So what's more fitting? So we have with us today special guest Kevin Nevek. Welcome. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you being here. Let the audience know about you, who you are, and what you do.
I will. Well, thank you first, Chris. Thank you for having me on. And thank you, Josh, for communicating with me, getting this whole thing set up. And that dope, is it past 3 minutes? I can say ass, right? That dope ass graphic you made. That's the coolest. I've never had anything made of myself that looks that cool. So thank you so much. I feel like a football player. Like I got my first ever football card. Thank you guys. So gracious. I really appreciate y'all making some time for me, and I'm really excited to talk Colts with you. As you mentioned, I talk some combat sports. I talk actually NBA on Thursday nights, but the Colts are my team, and we live cast every damn Sunday. So you know, I've seen a lot of what this team can do, and unfortunately for my sins, I also had to cover the Jacksonville Jaguars once not that long ago. So I know a little bit about this division. So I'm happy to chop it up with you boys and talk about all the moves that other teams made.
You had me with that one. You had me with that one. I thought you were going to say all moves we had. I was like,
if you talk to Titans fans, some of them hate the fact that not many of their players get second contracts. So according to them, we're sitting on a pot of gold.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they put up the graphic of the 2020 draft, and there's nobody left from that one.
Jacksonville.
So, yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I don't know many players from Jacksonville's franchise that I don't think a lot of their draft classes are probably equivalent to just that.
Yeah, they're not. But you know what? That's neither here nor there, because we know Jacksonville is a dumpster fire filled with rat poop. But as far as it goes, so let's just go ahead and get into it. All right, it's just like, Kev, you going to be able to stick around for the whole thing? You pretty much good with that? Okay, cool.
I'm here.
All right, fantastic. You know why I'm here. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Starting off a little bit of a somber note, but former Colts cornerback Vontae Davis unfortunately passed away this week at age 35. You may have remember him coming through in a trade during the Luck era. I believe we got him in that same 2012 year. So yeah, it's just like he was a fantastic corner for us. I'm going to say probably one of the best corners that we've had probably in franchise history. And I mean, he was a linchpin part of all of the 11-5 seasons. So definitely sad to see him pass away, especially at such a young age. So definitely want to make sure we highlight that. So rest in peace, Vontae Davis. But moving on to the secondary, we do have some good news. Julian Blackmon re-signed for a 1-year deal. So
Yes.
he's out there. He visited Buffalo. I think he visited one other team. I think it was Niners. Yes, visited Niners. Ended up coming back. So definitely glad to have him back. That saves us possibly having to put Rodney Thomas out there. So yeah. But how are we feeling about this move, guys? And anybody can jump in. Just go ahead. Just let your thoughts be known.
Well, safety was a obvious need, and having him back is pretty big because he was one of our better secondary players last year. So hopefully he comes back from his injury and does it again.
Yes.
Yeah, he played well for most of last season, right? I mean, I'm a big Julian Blackmon guy. You know, he's the type of ball hawking safety you need in a defense like this. When he's healthy, the dude is a baller, and so having a guy like that who knows the system, who's played in it for a couple of years now, played very well in this system. We've talked about this before on the show. You know how certain guys they play well and they're asked to just kind of do whatever, but then when they're asked to play a part in a true system, in a scheme inside of a scheme, a lot of guys can't do that. Right? And Julian Blackmon is one of those guys that does that very well. So I'm very excited to have him back. With that being said, we still need help in the secondary. So, but hey, don't worry, Chris Ballard, the ultimate team builder.
But we like the group we have.
I knew it.
See, I like the re-signing as well. This one's interesting because before free agency started, Julian Blackmon was definitely on my list of guys I'd like to see re-signed. And then I think as Colts fans, maybe we got a little frustrated seeing. I mean, at first we're like, okay, cool, we're getting some good re-signings here. We're getting a lot of our guys back. And then we haven't added a single person. Every starting safety in the NFL, it felt like, was available. And we don't get any of them. It doesn't even sound like we're talking to any of them. And so I think maybe the timing of it might have made this signing fall a little more flat with some Colts fans of like, oh, all we're doing is re-signing another guy. But we really needed to bring Blackmon back, especially if we weren't going to go out and get an upgrade. So for me personally, I'm happy with it. It's weird to have such a roller coaster for a team that didn't really do anything. You know, they're getting me the up and down with some of our much ado about nothing, you know, but I'm happy he's back.
No, absolutely. I think one thing that's kind of like not being talked about is the fact that like Julian Blackmon actually had a really good year last year. The only knock that you ever really have with him is, you know, the injury bug. You know, it's just like generally if he's hurt, then, you know, it's just like it's a loss. But when he's in the game, I mean, you know, he's going to be able to do some amazing things. So being able to sign him back, and I think last year, he ended last year, I think probably like top 5 grades among safeties. I think that was I can't remember what it was specifically, what the metric was, but I do remember that he ranked pretty high just based on like coverage grades, or I think it was like a zone coverage grade. So having him back definitely helps because, you know, like I said, without him, the safety room is a lot greener. So definitely happy to have you back, Julian. I know you're not watching this, but if this ever gets to you, thank you. Appreciate you.
I do agree.
Yeah. So now that we know he's back, we know that the secondary, as Chris Ballard said, the secondary can still, you know, use some improvement after he signed nobody to the secondary. How does this move put us in position in terms of just like having him back in the secondary with the experience that he has currently? Like, how does this help improve the secondary?
I'm not sure if it's an improvement because it's the same secondary as last year that was pretty much a weakness. I know people want to say that Flowers was hurt, Juju was hurt most of the year, and the other guys was just inconsistent and just young. But we just brought a guy back that had the experience, been in the league for what, 4 years, maybe 4 years, and played in 2 systems. Actually had to switch positions and still excelled in the position. So it definitely helped, but I mean, it didn't move the needle to put us in contention or put us in a top 5 or top 10 defense. I think we still need to add to that position.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, it might change how they address the draft, right? Safety doesn't become a high round need, so maybe I hate to say it, some fans are not going to like to hear this, but to me, it makes the odds even stronger that we might be trading down. There's one less position that somebody. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying somebody might be thinking, "Oh, hey, there's a need we addressed. Maybe we will trade down."
As soon as you said they might not like it, I knew exactly where you were going.
Man,
I didn't say it's what I would do, but you know,
the PTSD is just triggered.
I'm not gonna let him surprise me. Is that all I'm saying? If it happens, I won't be like, "No, I never saw this coming."
I won't be surprised. It'll just make me more infuriated. I'm sorry. It's just part of the team building strategy. My bad.
Enough's enough, Harish. Enough with your nonsense. We're not doing that, okay? We're not
building
doing that
teams here, bro. We're here to build football teams to compete.
Respectfully, shut up.
Football games.
Respectfully, shut up. We're not doing that. All right, I don't want to hear.
Not competing.
But so the thing, so ultimately the consensus is not necessarily an improvement if you're bringing back the same people. Now that we know that he's back, because of course, you know, I think everybody's kind of all over the place when it comes to the draft. Where do we see us going in the draft right now? Because like I said, you bring in everybody. I mean, the only difference is that you brought in Joe Flacco to basically be the backup, and then you bring in Raekwon Davis, who is going to be more inside, who doesn't really change anything when it comes to the fact that we need outside pass rush. So what is the general consensus? Because if you ask Colts Twitter, it's Brock Bowers. If you ask others, you know, it could be Arnold or Mitchell, or I mean, it could be, you know, a Dunzy. It could be, you know, trading up and potentially going and getting neighbors. I don't see how that would be a thing, but whatever. But like, what is the draft outlook now that you know that you have everybody back in those spots? I'll start with you, Kev. You go ahead.
Well, I like one of the names you mentioned as a potential spot here. Now, I will just announce my bias. I am a Toledo Rocket, so I'm a little biased on Quinion Mitchell myself. All right, coming from my alma mater, so I would not mind that pick at all. Other than that, maybe there's another name or two at corner you could convince me on. Other than that, guys, I'm thinking it's edge. If there's a good edge rusher that's there, that's personally what I would like to address. There are other corners obviously not to the same caliber of Mitchell, but there are other corners that I like in this draft in the later rounds where I think we could add some depth. And so that's what, I wouldn't want to reach if one of these if Mitchell goes, I wouldn't want to reach and just say we have to take a corner here, especially if there are some good edge guys that drop, somebody that can help get more pressure on the quarterback, because that on its own will make life a little bit easier on our corners, right? If we can get to the quarterback easier without always having to bring a legitimate blitz to do so. So that's why I would lean edge.
Is there a name you have in mind that you favor one over the other?
So when mock drafting is hard, I don't know if I trust what happens, but one, like I really like Jared Verse has been somebody that I've seen that I don't know if that's going to be there for us. But that's one that I really like. What are some other edge names that you guys are into?
I think Turner popped up a few times. I think Chop Robinson, Latu is another
right?
one.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Or yeah,
there's
I pronounce
a
that
couple
wrong.
options there. Yeah, I mean, just to go back on your previous point about the worst nightmare for Colts fans is trading down. I think we're in a position, and with as good as this draft is, I think some people will say, well, yeah, because it's such a great draft, you have the opportunity potentially to get two really good instant impact guys, which I'm not a fan of, because I think you're taking more of a risk of maybe one of those instant impact guys doesn't end up being where you think he might be, right? You can trade down from 15 to 18 and 16 your guy is gone, right? Or one of your guys is gone. And now you have to have another backup plan. I think the Colts are in a position on this roster enough to say, I need that one instant impact guy. And there might be 3 or 4, but I know I need one for sure. I need to get one of those 3 or 4. And this is the guy that I think that I need. And I think it needs to be a wide receiver, a DB, or an edge guy. One, I'm sure they have plenty of options in those 3 positions. There's plenty of talent up at the top, but I think that's where they have to go. And I don't think trading down, it's a huge risk that I don't think they should take.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen what's happened, especially with, for example, you trade down and then you get Rocket Sin. We talk about edge rusher, and then you give up Montez Sweat. And, that in and of itself is like, why are we consistently doing this, much to our chagrin? Because we, as many times as edge rusher has been drafted, we're still looking for an edge rusher. And that's probably the most frustrating part, because the thing is, if you go and let's just say you take the swing on a Montez Sweat, that means that you're not consistently looking to, I'm going to say, look for a pass rusher. Now you can put your efforts into other spots. And I mean, for the first time, Chris Ballard this past draft drafted a quarterback. So it's just like, okay, are you going to put pieces around him? Are you going to do anything? And that's why the frustration kind of set in, because you didn't necessarily fix offense or defense. So now it's like you're using this draft to draft both, when you could have potentially gone and just picked up a veteran cornerback or another veteran safety and then just done something a little bit more, I want to say, legitimate. And I do want to point out D09 motivation. He has the international symbol of Mayo Addicts for his logo on there. So welcome, D09. Appreciate you. And
is he still sleeping the suite?
I think so. Either that or kissing his sister, but either way, it's just like, we're not going to highlight those things on here. But yeah,
D09 motivation, chill, bro.
But like, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. But the problem is that all the improvement now has to be done through the draft, because anything that you're doing right now, you're just kind of looking around and you're saying, okay, like you still have somebody like Diggs out there. You still have somebody like Xavier Howard out there. You still have guys out there who absolutely can just go ahead and be signed. But, you're playing the waiting game, and you're playing a waiting game, especially in a draft where if people get jumped for a particular position that they're looking for, it's a good chance that those veterans are going to end up signing either way. So, I mean, you know what, Harish, you don't even have to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because you know why?
But we like the group we have.
Yes. So yeah, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Yes.
I
But
see us going offense though. I think I see us going offense for the first 3 picks. That's just
First 3.
Ooh, all 3.
yeah. I think
Okay.
I think we're going off. I mean, the other teams in the division is offense heavy right now with the added receivers, running backs. I think we got the match that with having some more offensive power. I mean, yeah, they said Johnny Woods working his way back. I don't know about the backup running back position. You let go Moss for Sermon, but Sermon's not bad. But it's not Moss. I think they go offense. I think they go maybe receiver. I hope they don't go tight end 15, but it's a possibility. They may go double back and get a receiver in the second round pick and may get a running back going forward. So I see.
yeah.
I really personally also like Kev. I also would love the Quinyon Mitchell pick. That's probably my favorite corner in this draft.
Yeah.
Just a really super long, athletic guy. There's a lot of new receivers in this division that you have to think about. And you know what? As much as I love Dallas Flowers, as much as I think he had potential, you don't know you don't know what's going to happen when you come back. He may never be the same, and I don't think that is like a risk that they should take a chance on. And again, we know Ballard loves his young teams. He drafts young teams every year, but if they do go get a guy, we're talking about a playmaker at a position of need, Quinyon Mitchell feels like is the right choice, just because of where we are. And then beyond that, beyond just the position, who my favorite DB is in this draft. So I second your pick, Kev.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Go Rockets!
Hey! By the way, I have to address some of the Mayo maniacs in the comments, because one of the comments, it says, "Who's supposed to stop us from y'all team?" So the Titans, I don't know if y'all know, the Titans generally. There you go. The Titans generally, they sign guys for a lot of money, and it doesn't work out. I mean, you moved all that money over, which is the reason why you had to wait until last year to get rid of Ryan Tannehill just to get Julio Jones, and that was a dumpster fire. I mean, you got Bud Dupree, and you cut him 2 years into a 4-year deal. I mean, if we're being honest, who's supposed to stop us from y'all team? I don't think anybody has to stop us from our team, because y'all are going to stop y'all, because we all know that the Titans are a dumpster fire. You have Callahan. That sounds great.
Will Levis is going to stop them.
Oh, well, listen.
Mayo Man himself, he's going to overthrow. Wait, he threw how many touchdowns in 9 games? 4?
Yes. And 4 1 game.
What is it? He threw 4 in 1 game and then 3 in 7. Yeah. Very devastating.
Yeah.
Very devastating quarterback.
Yeah.
And Brian, listen, I think Callahan's he was a great OC. Not all great OCs make great head coaches. You have no idea what you have in that head coach there.
Yeah.
For all you know, he could be terrible. Just because he drew up great offenses as an OC, being a head coach is. You know who else drew up great offenses as an OC?
Don't say it. Don't say
it. Mr. Potato Head himself was a fantastic OC. He was so good he won a Super Bowl, and then was a potato head for 6 years, and then went to Carolina and became another potato head. So it doesn't matter if he was a great OC. I have no fear in the Titans next year. Honestly, it's probably the team I'm least worried about in the entire division. I don't care how many moves they make.
Yeah, and
we all wish you had our player.
And let's be honest. Like you added Calvin Ridley. I mean, that sounds great. I mean, he's also about to be 30. And then you added Chidobe Awuzie, who's also, I think, is about to be 30. You added Snead, who, of course, on the Chiefs is just fantastic. I don't think anybody's taken away from the fact that he's talented, but now he's going to be away from the Chiefs with that disruptive force up front called Chris Jones, and we're just all of a sudden supposed to be razzle-dazzle. No, that's not how that goes. So, yeah, I mean, listen, y'all were last in the division last year. We swept y'all. I mean, we have a whole offseason and a draft. I mean, you can be excited. I know that you're excited whenever they bring out a new flavor of Dukes. mayonnaise, but I mean that has nothing to do with this or that. So yeah, sounds good on paper, but you're still gonna have to put the product out there because y'all got real excited after that Falcons game, and then it was back to reality like the very next game. So cool. Glad we got
real quick. Hey, D, while you're commenting on YouTube, can I get a like, please? Appreciate it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Make sure that you're liking, commenting, and sharing too, please. Yeah, like I said, for good measure. If we're going to be interacting and talking about all these foolhardy comments you're making, you might as well just go ahead and drop the like and just share it. So yeah, appreciate you out here. All right. But then let's go ahead, because now that we're talking about the Titans, I think it's only fitting that we kind of talk about like the current state of the AFC South, right? Because we see like the moves that were made. We see the Texans just this week went and traded for Stephon Diggs, and I mean they got him for half a bologna sandwich and I mean a bootleg Pootie Tang DVD. So I mean at this point, being able to get him at a premium, seeing the moves that were made, the Titans made some moves, Jags made moves, and then seeing exactly where the Colts are in terms of not really doing that, but just like I said, re-signing the same guys from last year. Where do we feel right now like the AFC South is? Because it looks a lot stronger on paper, but I mean, is this a division that is going to be extremely competitive, or is everything just kind of fool's gold based on what we've seen in previous years? And like I said, anybody can jump in on this one.
I don't know. I just never know in this division what's fool's gold and what's the real deal. Like, because every year we think about, like last year, we're like, oh man, the Jags are going to be the best team in the division. And they were one of the worst teams in the division, basically like the last 8 weeks of the year. You talk about, I thought we were going to win 6 games. We ended up winning 9. I thought the Texans were going to be probably maybe in that 5-6 range too. They end up winning the whole thing. The problem with this division is no one's ever damn consistent enough to know what's really going to happen. And it's been this way for 15 years, right? I mean, dating back to 2012, well, maybe 10 years, right? You just never know who in this division is going to be the team that consistently steps up and puts a foot on the rest of the division. Even though there's good teams in other divisions, you consistently see that there's one team that's always on top. Similar to the NFC East, it's another division where you just never know what team's going to end up on top, because you think the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Dallas is going to be terrible, and then Dallas ends up winning the division. Or, the Giants and the Commanders or Washington Football, whatever the hell they're called, they end up playing the last game of the season for the division, and it's just weird things like that. And I think this division has that type of mantra where you just really never know. So on paper, we can kind of maybe guess who the worst teams are and who the best team is, but we truly don't know, and I think that's kind of where we're at with this team.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kev.
Oh, I was just saying, it's kind of a mixed bag. If I had to take a stab at it, I'd say right now the team that I'm least confident about is Jacksonville, because even though they made some additions, I feel like they lost some key players. What's his name? Rashawn, their safety, went to Seattle. Rashawn Jenkins, I believe. So they've lost some key players. And I don't know if you guys saw this, and I don't like to always be a stat head, but someone put together Gardner Minshew's last three seasons versus Trevor Lawrence's 2 seasons, and the stats were like it was almost identical. And so and I say that just to say that Lawrence hasn't really lived up to the hype, in my opinion, so far. So when I look at a team that, what was their big addition offensively? Gabe Davis. Not like, no disrespect to him, but like that's not Stephon Diggs. That's not Calvin Ridley. So for me, I think it would be Jacksonville. And then I don't know. I think quarterback play will determine between the Colts and the Titans who has a better season. But I do think right now it's the Texans division to lose, on paper at least. Like you guys pointed out, you never know. CJ Stroud could have some sort of odd sophomore slump we don't see. Stephon Diggs could get mad that he only got 7 targets instead of 8, and he could blow up all the chemistry that they have there. You don't really know, but as of right now, that's kind of how I see things going.
No, Kev, we're not doing that. Tell us how you really feel about that move, because you was on Twitter trolling. Tell us how you really feel.
I was coping. All right. I was coping. I was trying to do that whole rival thing, right? Where I say washed, overpay. I'm not upset, staple the laughing emoji over my face as I'm crying behind it because I see a price like that and I'm thinking, man, there's nobody, like the Colts can't add depth anywhere. There's nobody we can send a 7th rounder for that I could be like, oh, cool, that'd be nice. Look at that. Right. We have lost again. I'm happy with who we brought back, but we've lost a couple guys on offense. It wouldn't hurt to have one more playmaker out there to say, oh, hey, okay, well, I can't wait to see what AR does with him. So yeah, until then, I'm just gonna tell every one of our rivals that they're overpaying. It's a reach. Washed. Glad the Colts didn't pay for that. Yeah, that's how I'm playing it.
Hey, I'm riding with you. Hey, I'm riding with you, man. If you do that, I'm riding with you, man. It does, man. It does. Every time you get a notification, it's Texans or Titans signing somebody. I'm like, oh my God. And it's like you said, but dirt cheap. I mean, besides the really sign, there was, I think, a bit of overpay because he haven't really played much. And he had a decent year last year. I think he shouldn't get that much. And then, like you said, with the Diggs move, we're like, wow. And then they only on the hook for 1 year, possibly. And then he go in free agent.
Really?
So I'm like, yeah, like I said, before open, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't have it right now.
The Danielle Hunter move probably hurts me the most because, again, when you talk, I think Snead was great, but knowing that we and this is kind of where I'm like, okay, he's trying. We gave Danielle Hunter the most amount of money out of any team that offered him, and he chose to go to Houston because that's where he's from, right? You can't beat that.
Right. It didn't have anything to do with our historic. He's like, man, I don't know if I want to play for the team that
I don't know if I want to be
34-point lead.
Right. I don't know if I want to be part of. I don't know if I want to be part of 2 Hall of Fame ends.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they have one too now. So, but yeah, I mean that kind of sting. I think the Danielle Hunter thing stung the most. I think the Snead thing hurts Colts fans the most because of the just great drama we had for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and how it thoroughly entertained and horrified all of us all at the same time. I think it's probably why Snead probably hurts. But I think on paper, looking at the roster, having a guy that like Danielle Hunter would have opened up a lot of gates for us, because then you could really say maybe we don't need that much veteran leadership on the in the secondary because we have a bona fide guy that can get to the quarterback, which is really the issue. We don't have a disruptor on the line. We get a lot of sacks, but we don't really pressure the quarterback often. That would have solved that problem.
We got Tyquan Lewis, your boy.
Listen, but no Tyquan Lewis slander will be handled on this channel.
No. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. Listen, y'all aren't going to do this because we did this before, and we know that Tyquan Lewis with the fact that he can be good, he's not consistent enough on like a game-to-game basis to be able to do. Well, I mean, yeah, but the thing is, it's also holding on for way too long to guys that you just like so much.
That's what we've been trying to do.
Ben Banagoo. Like Ben Banagoo was on the roster, and I think he only got in because there was 2 other injuries on the line. Like it's a listen. I'm not.
Hold on, Chris. Our culture is defined by our GM, and our GM holds on to things way too long. Therefore, so must we.
All right. So on that note, Kev, tell the people where they can find you, because I'm not getting back into this mode again, because I literally went off on Chris Ballard 2 weeks ago, and we were here for like an hour and a half. I think I was ranting for almost 20 minutes, and y'all listen. You're not going to do this to me. I am working on my inner peace.
You have to let it all out, man.
No, I don't.
It's your safe place, man. We're your brothers. All of us are brothers.
No. So here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna do that. That's what we're not gonna do. Okay, we're not gonna safe space all this stuff. Safe spaces are important. However, this is not one of those. Okay, this is not a safe space. This is a hostile space, and especially when you start bringing up things like depth, because the thing is, like how many times do we hear depth when we know for a fact we need a starter? Depth is great
See,
when you have.
This is why you letting it all out right now. Let it out.
No. But this is all logic. This is all.
I'll go on mute. Go for it.
No. Listen. If I hear, and I told Harish this weeks ago, if I hear the word depth again, I'm going to kick myself in the ass, because I'm sick of the word depth. When you know for it's just like, oh yeah, it's depth. Like, yeah, we signed a corner for depth. Fantastic. So who's going to be starting?
Cody Pick.
On that note, Kev, tell the people where they can find you. Tell the people what you have coming up, because I'm not doing this tonight. I'm not doing this tonight. I'm not doing this tonight. I refuse. Tell the people where they can find you on what you got coming up. Because I'm about to pop a blood vessel.
Hey, well, I thank you for having me on. I hope hope we can do this again sometime soon, man. And definitely maybe have you guys come hang out with us on Horseshoe Pride sometime too. I know we got the Horseshoe Crew. There we go. With our powers combined, we are the Horseshoe Crew, baby. So
okay. I like what you do. I'm picking up what you're putting down. Okay. All right, I got you.
I can do that.
I like it. So other than that, guys, if you're big into hoops, the NBA playoffs are coming up. So the Bounce on Bite Size Sports every Thursday night at 9. I'm the host with James, former Indiana State basketball coach. So somebody who had a lot of insight here for us over March, and our good buddy Keebler. Yeah, we got a Pacers fan and a Knicks fan on that show. So if nothing else, you get to see some fun interactions there. But other than that, I talk Star Wars on Wednesday nights on the Dweeb Network. And right here, you see this cool little flag. That's the Clout Route. Tuesdays, Sundays. That's our comedy podcast over on the Clout Routes YouTube channel. And I'm off for a month at Carnage Media. But if you're interested in catching on the up and coming, all the best athletes in the world of mixed martial arts, we do kickboxing, boxing, MMA. I think we got Muay Thai coming up this year. One of our veterans, Dylan Budka, is fighting in UFC Vegas 90 tomorrow. He'll be fighting at 3 p.m. So, friend of mine, I'm real happy. One day I'll be calling one of his pro fights. But other than that, of course, find me Horseshoe Pride as well when the season starts again. Last year we did all of our live streams on the PSF app, but other than that, I'll be live tweeting games with all of you.
Yes.
So please, if you're a Colts fan, please add me on Twitter. Although be warned, I kind of have an eclectic taste, so you're just going to get bad dad jokes about everything. It won't just be Colts content.
Gotcha.
All right, guys.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And who would have thought? I mean, at this point, the V in Kev stands for variety, because I mean, it's just like I've never heard of such realm or such, I'm gonna say, well-roundedness. But you know what? Here we are. I appreciate that about you. So yes, make sure that you are following him. What is the @ on Twitter?
It is at Kev Nevick _. So look for me right there, and then of course you see the bite. Thank you for putting those other ones down there on the bottom. I appreciate that.
No problem at all. And fellas, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Twitter at CookieAustin2.
All right. Josh?
Man, I don't want anybody to follow me because I hate everybody.
Oh, wow.
No.
That was intense.
What the fuck, son? Like what? Like what?
No, you guys can follow me on Twitter at Who Is Josh Senior.
Okay. Harish?
Yeah, you can find me and my frozen camera at the Uncle Gandhi.
Yes, yeah, it is frozen.
The camera is frozen. So
it's right. We call this like we're working at like 3 FPS right now.
Ooh. All right. Yeah, that is tragic. And you can find me at CJ Colts fan. Make sure that you are staying tuned. We're still going to be on Tuesdays, but due to technical difficulties on my behalf, we did today. Once again, want to thank Kev for coming out. Like I said, family to the podcast. hopefully we'll have you on another episode whenever you are not doing one of the many things you are generally doing. But yeah, and then like I said, over the next couple weeks, we're going to be covering draft projections, basically just going over that. But yeah, so in the meantime, make sure that you are tuning in, staying tuned. And once again, thank you for tuning in. And as always, y'all know the vibes. Sam loves Jalen Ramsey. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.